Hey everybody, it's Slazachoff. Today I just wanted to show you this funny video I found by Business Insider. It takes a look into how important clay modeling is in the automotive industry.
This machine is carving out a life-size Ford Mustang from hundreds of pounds of clay. It's arguably the most important step in designing a car, even though most car owners know nothing about the process.
So there's a need in the automotive industry for there to be physical models, life-sized models of these vehicles, not just the little Hot Wheels. They need to be the full thing, and they need to be exact, down to the millimeter. It's so funny to me because they kind of look into the history of what this small part of the industry looks like. They showcase these scenes from the 1950s or whenever these are being filmed of industry professionals in these lab coats slapping goo onto the vehicle frames. It's just such a bizarre look into what this world is.
I mean, I come across people every single day that do not understand the concept of why we would make a full-size car out of clay and then finish it in a way where it looks exactly the same as the production vehicle.
There's this guy. He says, I meet people every day who don't understand why we do this. Who knows that people do? Who would understand why you would make giant clay cars before you've made the car? It's just so funny to me that the guy's like, I don't understand why people don't recognize how important my job is. And it's building big clay cars. Like, sure, like, it's clear that there's a lot of money behind this, and it seems to be a very important part of the process, but you can't actually be out of the know as to why this is kind of an absurd concept for people. This is news to a lot of people, so when you tell people your whole thing is making just the clay part of the car, yeah, that's a strange... nobody does that. Who does that as a vocation?
Inside, designers develop vehicles that haven't even been announced yet.
The look inside these facilities where they make these cars, it looks like the inside of an Apple store. I've never seen a building like this, and it's entirely designed to facilitate the building of clay cars. I understand. It's important to the process, or, there's an argument to be made that is important to the process.
It's arguably the most important step.
It feels like there's almost a poignancy to how strange this is for it to be such a simple material like clay and for it to be such an upscale facility and $650,000 goes into the building and fine craftsmanship of these vehicles. Like, that's absurd. Isn't that absurd?
This is the car industry's Area 51.
Yeah, I mean, we work in a secure facility that's only a few members of the site can actually get into. So it's special permissions to get into here.
The car industry's Area 51. Like, okay, they meant top secret. They meant, nobody comes in. It's not really super well understood what the inside of these facilities look like, what they do a lot of the time. That's not what people think of when you say Area 51. Call it like the automotive black site or something. Area 51 has a very specific connotation of extraterrestrial. I feel like working with clay, actually very terrestrial.
But it's not close to being finished yet. Modelers still have to smooth out surfaces, corners, and edges.
I feel like the editor did the narrator a little dirty because why did they show a clearly like half-finished and bullet hole riddled car and say it's not quite done yet? No, I can see that. I feel like if they're gonna put $650,000 into creating clay vehicles, they're gonna work it a little bit beyond the point where it looks like Bonnie and Clyde's death car.
This is where craftsmanship becomes critical.
I've met people that have come from the porcelain industry that have migrated very quickly, very easily into the clay modelling side. But I've also met people that no matter how much training you give them, how much guidance, they just don't get it.
He says people come in from the porcelain industry, and I mean, I don't know, I just think of toilets. You wouldn't believe how easily transferable toilet making is to our business. It's a big deal.
I mean, you can have at least probably 60, 70 tools in your box that do similar things, but do it in a slightly different way.
Their tools may look like medieval surgical instruments.
Very, very, very simple things. I mean, this is quite a crude tool, but it's almost like a cheese grater. So you can actually scrape a lot of clay off, but keep the surface quite flat and level.
Oh, okay. I can see the utility in having a big cheese grater because you need to scrape off a lot of material. That makes sense. I'm sure, that comes in handy when trying to get some of the bigger parts of the car in the right shape. What do the other tools do? 60 to 70 tools in your toolkit? What do the others do?
This is a very simple tool that we use, and it's just you just scrape it like that.
Oh, that one scrapes as well. Okay. So there's like a section of the tools that are just like for scraping. Okay. Yeah. Got it. What I mean, right, anything else?
There's these what we call slicks. Now what these are very thin steel. But what it allows you to do is to shape, and then you can use that shape to drag down the surface of the clay.
That one also scrapes. It's a lot of scraping. I guess it's mostly it's clay scraping. This tool here, actually, very important one. It's one of my favorites. It's best utilized for getting the deep contours and scraping the clay off of the model. This one, and not too different from my favorite, actually. It's very similar in many ways. It's used for scraping for the most part. This one, believe it or not, scraping. You have to be a little creative with this one, honestly.
If modelers make a mistake, they use a hot air gun to soften the area and either add more material or remove it.
If modelers make a mistake, they aim a gun at the car, and the pressure of being at gunpoint is enough for the car to sort of take on the shape that the modelers were hoping for.
You're always going to need a physical model to verify the data that you receive. I can see the generations coming through now that are more used to using different software, virtual reality, but I think there will ultimately always be a need for a clay model of some form.
The team uses 3D scanners to create a digital version of the model. That way, it can be shared instantly with the company's engineers and designers all over the world.
I love that detail. There's a car. Oh, there's a clay car on the road. Whoa. They make these, frankly, beautiful clay models. It's craftsmanship, honestly. These are an extremely talented group of artists collaborating to make something beautiful. And, most importantly, physical. Because you can't quite get from a digital model what you can from a physical model. So what they do is they create these beautiful, elaborate physical models, and then they take pictures of them,
virtual reality,
and turn them into digital models, and then that's what everybody else sees. But if you come to this facility where we don't let anybody in,
Area 51,
you would get to see the physical model. But digital models, you can't, it's not the same. It's just not the same. I do love the stark contrast between the very delicate, fine attention to detail with the scraping, the scraping tool number 37, compared directly next to the milling, just chiseling through inches of clay. Whoa! Fucking piece of shit.
The combination of materials and the amount of labor is what leads to those six-figure price tags for automakers. Bentley tries sticking to a strict 12-month time frame, but it's not the case for everyone. Designers spent over 4 years making this Ford F-150 Raptor model out of nearly 2,000 pounds of clay.
It takes them 4 years to make an F-150. 4 years in development for the entire car. We dedicate our lives to the skill of creating the most beautiful and elegant vehicles possible. And you know what? I'm a clay guy. I'm not that interested in the lights, actually. I think probably we'll just throw in miniature suns. We'll put small dwarf stars into each of the eye sockets here, and we'll call it a day. And then there's one guy's job who he's not involved in any of the crafting process, but he is the professional vape blower. He throws out fat clouds into this wind tunnel, and that gives them a good idea of how vape clouds would interact with their clay vehicle. Should the circumstance ever arise where that information is necessary, they'll know the interaction possible between mango jewel pods and dirt. Anyway, that's it, I guess. I just found this to be a really silly aspect of the industry I had no clue existed, but I'm not a car guy, never have been. Relatively car blind, actually. When I was a kid, I just didn't know which vehicle belonged to my mom, and so I would wander around parking lots just kind of guessing at license plates. But you know what? Go clay modelers. Apparently you guys are up to a lot more than I would have expected. I imagine this is the kind of thing AI wouldn't really be able to replicate, but I don't know. Maybe it's really easy when you get the AI to stop chiseling and start scraping. If you can teach a chat GPT clone to scrape 1,000 different ways, you might find that it's grown to the approximate level of a novice. Nothing, you'll never create an AI like Mark Sadler. He could take the white off of bone if you gave him the right tools. If you gave him the wrong tools, he could make it into a fine art piece. So go clay modelers. I look forward to your next work in the Wallace and Gromit series. I'm a big fan.
Cheese sending more roses? Cheese? I think you'll just want to see me throw it back. Not that I blame you. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And there's a lot of Jack Starber music videos that could still be made. So keep up the good work, guys. It's a $1 billion industry, apparently. Clay. Anyway, that's it. Bye.